My dear students, I welcome you all in this video lesson. In the previous video lessons, we have discussed the basics of Python, how to write a function definition, how to write a function call. Function call is like a nature's call. When it is called, you have to respond to it. Similarly, the function call has to be responded by the execution of function definition. Then we discussed the types of function, and after that we came to arguments and the type of arguments. Three type of arguments that we have already discussed: positional argument, default argument, and keyword arguments. Okay, so that was an important video. If you have missed that video, please go through that video. And now in this video we will be covering the remaining concepts of function, especially concerned with Python. Now we come to the 10th point, that is returning values from function. In function, we can either return some value or we cannot, or we do not return a value. Okay. So in Python, the functions returning some value are called non-void functions. The functions that return some computed result in terms of a value fall in this category. The computed value is returned using a return statement. You have already seen it. We are discussing this returning the value in detail. The return statement followed by the value. This is how we write the syntax of it. So the value being returned can be a literal, that means a constant, a variable, or an expression. It could be a combination of operator and operands. When we call a function that is returning a value, the returned value is made available to the caller function or program by internally substituting the function call statement, which means that the function call statement that was placed will be replaced by the value being returned, and then you will put an equal to or with a variable, or you will print it using the print function on the screen. Okay, you know how to deal with the values being returned. So the values being returned are replaced. The values being returned replace the function call statement. Okay, so the returned value that you get can be used in an expression. That means you can put it in a variable or an expression. It can be in the middle of an expression. It can be stored in a variable for future use, or it can be printed using print statement. Okay, so the first one is used in an expression. You can have a function call in between a large expression. Okay, suppose you have written 3 plus square bracket 5 plus 3. That means you are calling the function square and adding it to some additional number. So what will be the result? The square function will be executed. It will give the result back, and that square bracket 5 will be replaced by that value, and you can get the complete result. Okay, and second one, you can store it in a variable if you require it for future use in the program, or you can directly print it using the print function. The return statement ends the execution of a function call even if it is in the middle of the function body. If you write a simple return statement, okay, in the middle of a function body, the Python interpreter will return back to the place from where it came without executing the rest of the commands. So this is a very powerful statement, the return statement. It can be without value, it can be with value. If it is with value, it will carry the value and it will replace the function call with that value. If it is without value, it makes the interpreter move from that function back to the position from where it came. Okay, the statements following the return statement will be unreachable code, because you have put a return statement there, so the remaining statements will not be executed and they will be treated as unreachable code because they will never be executed. The second category of functions that do not return anything. Okay, the functions that perform, those are called void functions. The function that perform some action or do some work but do not return any value are called void functions. A void function may or may not have a return statement. If a void function is having a return statement, it will be a simple return. That is a command to go back. Okay. This return statement does not have any value associated with it. So every void function returns a legal empty value of Python, that is none. You have studied about this variable, this value called none, and it is returned when nothing is being returned. This none is returned. So if you want to print it, print a function call that doesn't return anything, you will get none as the output. Okay, we will try in this in our practical session. Okay, now we come to the next part, that is returning multiple values. So this is an additional benefit of Python, that it can return multiple values through a single return statement. Many other languages can only return a single value at a time from a function, but Python supports return of multiple values. Okay, so how can we do it? We can just write return, the statement return followed by a value 1, comma value 2, comma value 3 and so on. Okay, the thing that you have to note is it will be returned in the form of a tuple. It will be made as a tuple and then it will be returned, and then you can unpack that tuple in the function call. You must be knowing about how to unpack the tuple. If you are not, you can visit the class 11th playlist and you will find the chapter on tuple there and how to unpack a tuple. The concept has been discussed there. We will also display the same thing using in our practical session also. So if you return more than one values at a time, then it will be returned as a tuple and you can unpack that tuple in the function call. Okay, so this was all about returning a single value and returning multiple values. Now we come to a next concept, that is scope of variable. This point has been given as the first point in your syllabus of function, but we are discussing at a later stage because it should be discussed at a later stage only when you are aware about the functions. So what is a scope? Scope means that part of a program in which the name of a variable is legal and accessible. Okay, if you declare a variable, it's the area of program in which you are able to print its value or you are able to access its value or its use is legal, that program code is called the scope of that variable. So in Python we have two types of scope, global scope and local scope. A name, that is a variable name or a function name or any name that is declared in top level statements of a program, is said to have a global scope. So if you declare a variable in top level statement, so its scope will be global. Global scope means it will be available throughout the program. So it is usable inside the whole program and all blocks contained within block. So it will be available in the entire program. Variables defined outside all functions are also global variables. So if you define a function, a variable at the beginning of the program, before you are writing any function definition, those variables will also be treated as global variables. So those will be accessed, can be accessed throughout the program. They can be printed or they can be used. Local scope means a name declared in a function body is said to have local scope, or we can generalize it, a name declared in a block. You know the block, the code lines having same indentation are called block. So a name declared in a function body, or we can say a block, is said to have a local scope. Local scope means that variable will only be available in that block only, not outside it or not before it. Okay, it can be used only within that function or block. Okay, or it should be noted that it will be accessible in the blocks that it contains. If a bigger block contains a smaller block, then the variable declared in a bigger block will be accessible in the smaller block. But the variable declared inside block cannot be accessed outside that block. So if a variable is defined in a smaller block that is enclosed by a bigger block, it will not be available in outsider block, that is the bigger block. Okay, now a new concept it is there, the time for which a variable or any name, it remains in the memory, it is called the lifetime of that variable. So if you define a variable and the time for which it remains in the memory will be called the lifetime of that variable. So the global variables have lifetime as the whole program, but the local variables will have a bit less lifetime. Okay, so this was about the scope of variables. The next topic, just connecting that scope, is name resolution. Name resolution means how to identify a name. So when we access a variable within a program or function, Python follows a name resolution rule that is called LEGB rule. Okay, so LEGB means L means local environment, E means enclosing environment, G means global environment, and B means built-in environment. Suppose you have a statement called print x. So what the Python interpreter will do is it will check for the availability of that x, the name x. Okay, so where it will check, the first will be L, then E, then G, then B. It means it will first check in the local environment. Local namespace means local block. Okay, so first it checks within its local environment or local namespace. If it is having a variable with the same name, Python will use its value. If that variable x is available in local scope, means if you are inside a function and you have declared a variable x there and you write print x, then Python will just find that variable x in that block only, and so it will print it. If you have not declared any variable x in that function, then what it will do is it will check in the enclosing environment, means the environment just above the environment you were there. So you are inside a function, so it will check outside that function. Is there any variable named x outside that function? If yes, it will use the value of that x. Otherwise, it will move to the next step. Next step is G, that is global environment. Then it will check the entire program. Okay. Then it will check the entire program for the availability of that variable x. Clear? And at that, if it is found, then it is accessed. Otherwise, it will move to the next, that is B, built-in environment. Some built-in variables or functions of Python. If they are available in there, they will be used, and if they are not found there also, then you are presented with an error statement. Okay, I am giving an example. Please listen carefully. If you have declared a function, and inside a function you have a for loop, and you have a program, and in the program you have a function, and in the function you have a for loop. You define a variable x in the for loop. Okay, then it will be checked from the local environment. Okay, and you have a print statement inside that for loop. So if the x variable is present inside the for loop, it will be called local environment and it will be printed. If that x is not defined in that function for loop, so the Python interpreter will check the presence of that x in the function that is above that for loop. If it is there, it will be printed. Otherwise, it will check the whole program, that is global scope, global environment. If it is found, a variable named x is found in the whole program, it will be printed. Else, it will check its own, Python will check its own environment. If I am having a variable called x somewhere in my pre-installed directory, if yes, it will be printed. Otherwise, then only you will get error. If it is not found in anywhere, LEGB, any environment does not contain that variable x, then only you will be getting error. Otherwise, it will try to make some jugaad, that you call, from somewhere and try to print the value. Okay. So this is the rule of name resolution. Whenever you have a name to be accessed or name to be printed, the Python goes through these 4 checks. First, it will check in local environment, then outside it will be in closing environment, then outside it will be global environment, and outside it will be a built-in environment, means the environment of Python itself. And if it finds the value, then it is okay, it will be printed. Otherwise, you will be presented with an error. Clear? What happens is, sometimes variable exists both in local and global scope. If there are 2 x variables declared, one inside the for loop and one outside the for loop, then the preference is always given to the local one. Okay. So if you have a local friend and you have a global friend, then you will prefer the local friend first. Then you will attend the global friend from outside. Okay. If you have a friend from your class and one friend from your school, that is of another class, then you will prefer the friend from your class first, then you will entertain the friend from your school that is having another class. Okay. If you want to use the value of an already created global variable, okay, inside a local function without modifying it, then we can directly use it. Okay. But if we want to assign some value to the global variable without creating any local variable, then we should use global statement followed by the variable name to use that global variable. Okay. Suppose you have 2x, one inside function and one outside that function, and you want to use the x, then what will be, if you try to print the value of x, the local x will be printed, not the global one. The outsider will not be printed. But if you want to print that value of outside x, then you have to use a statement global space x. It will tell the compiler, in the Python interpreter, that from now on you will be using the x that is mentioned outside. Clear? So you can use the variable outside, that is outside your local scope, but using a global statement. Once a variable is declared global in a function, it cannot be undone. Okay, so you have to use that value only. Using global statement is not good programming practice. So it is a suggestion to you that you should not use global statement. You should use other tactics, other practices, but you should avoid using this global statement. Okay. So the concept of this global keyword will be discussed in the practical session in detail. So you will be, if there is any confusion, you will get it cleared in that practical session. You have to wait for that practical session. And now we move to the next point, that is mutable and immutable properties of past objects. That means in Python you have some mutable objects, some immutable objects. Suppose lists are mutable, and tuples, strings, these are immutable. So what will happen if you pass some list, or suppose in a function we are passing a list and another function we are passing a tuple, and we want to modify, will it be actually be modified or not? So this thing we will be discussing in this topic. Python variables are not storage containers. That is the thing that we have discussed in class 11 again and again. Rather than they are like memory references. Okay, they are not storage containers. They are just like labels. Okay, they are like memory references they refer to the memory address where the value is stored. The value is stored at a particular memory location and the name is just an arrow or a label to that location. Okay. So changes in immutable types are not reflected in the caller function at all. Please pay attention. If you have passed an immutable data type and you are trying to change its value, okay, and that value will not be changed actually in the main program. Okay, please try to understand. When you call a function, a separate memory reference or separate memory space is created. We have already discussed this thing, execution frame. Okay, so when you call a function, a separate execution frame is created. So when you pass an immutable data type from your function call to the function definition, so it goes to a new location, and if you change something in that change will not be reflected back. Clear? If you are passing an immutable data type in the function call, then it will be going to a new memory location. It will not be there in the same memory location. It will create a new memory location reference frame for that, and there if you try to change something, that change will not be reflected back. The original value will not change. Clear? But if you are passing a mutable data type like list, then what will happen? Will it be changed or not? It has both the conditions. The changes are reflected in the caller function if its name is not assigned a different variable or data type. Means if you are just passing a list and using the same name, the same list in the program, modifying the same thing, then it will be reflected. If you have created a copy of it in the function and you are changing that variable, then it will not be reflected back in the main original copy. Try to understand with an example. Suppose you have a question paper. Okay, it cannot be edited. So if it is, suppose it is immutable. So if you pass it to some other friend and you have a lamination around it, okay, you have a sheet, question paper sheet, and you have laminated it and you pass it to your friend, then it becomes immutable. So he can never change it. He cannot write anything on it because it is laminated, it is immutable. But suppose you have provided him a question paper that is not laminated, just a sheet, then what are the two cases in Python? The first case is if your friend writes on the same sheet, he made some changes on that with his pen or pencil, he makes some changes on that sheet, then those changes will be permanent. But if he takes a Xerox of that question paper and makes the change on that Xerox copy, then your original sheet will not change. So this is the concept that I am discussing. So if you are passing an immutable object, it will never change. Whatever be the condition, the original value will not change. Okay, because it is a copy is created. When you pass some variable from your call to definition, it creates a new memory frame. So a copy of it is being passed. So if it is immutable, the main copy will never be changed. But if you are providing a mutable data type like list, if you are providing it, then what will happen? If you just work on that original list, then it will get changed. But if you create a copy of list in another list and then change that copy newly created list, then the original sheet, that means the original list, will remain unchanged. Okay, I think you are clear with this. Okay, we will understand the concept in the practical sessions also. Now the last point in this function chapter is passing string, list, tuple and dictionary to the function. That means passing all the objects that we have studied in class 11 to function. So all these objects can be passed to a function like any other object. Like you pass an integer, just the the same method you use to pass string, list and tuple, dictionary, all the others objects. Okay, just by mentioning the name of the object in the parameter list. Okay, but when you pass it, then all those elements, because these are a container type data type, string is a collection of characters, list is also a collection of elements, tuple is also a collection of elements, dictionary is also a collection of elements. So if you want to access its individual elements, then you have to use the methods that are allowed with the data type. All the methods you have studied about related to strings, list, tuple, dictionary, all these things will be available with that value. If you pass a string to a function, then all the function that are allowed in string will be allowed in the function definition. Okay, so you pass a list, you pass a tuple, you pass a dictionary, all the functions that are allowed in list, tuple, dictionary, etc. will be allowed on that function. So using those functions, you can access the elements or you can change the elements if allowed. Okay, so this was all about this the functions in Python. So we have completed our chapter on functions. If you have any queries on any of the topic, please feel free to write in the comment section. I will get back to you with the query answer of the query. And if you have not gone through the previous videos, please go through the videos in the sequence, then only you will be able to understand the concept of function. As I have told you, the this concept of function is the backbone of your class 12th programming, and it will be the backbone of your project that you will be making. Okay, so it is very important chapter. That's why I made a series of videos, okay, emphasizing on point to point in the video. Okay, these all the points could have been discussed in a single video, but I thought it would be better to discuss the topics in detail and have separate videos for separate concepts. Okay, so I hope that you will go through all those videos in the sequence, and if you follow all the videos and according to your learning pace, you change the speed of the video. If you are not able to understand, run it in a slower pace, and if you follow the sequence, you will be able to understand all the concepts of functions, how to write functions, how to use functions. And if you still find some difficulty, you can ask me in the comment section. I will reply it so that your queries can be answered. And in the next video, we will be discussing the practical concepts of all the points that we have discussed. So be prepared with your pen and pencil and jot down all your doubts and ask me those doubts. And while coming to the practical session, you should be completely present with your mind and should focus how the shifting is of the Python interpreter is taking place. We will give you a live demo of it, how the function changes, how the Python interpreter changes the location of memory. Okay, so all those things will be discussed in the practical session, and in a separate session we will be discussing all the possible questions from this unit, and I will provide you all the possible questions and the programs that can be asked from this unit and the output based questions that are asked from this unit. Okay, so what we will do is we will be discussing all the practical problems that you have done in the class 11th using functions now. Okay, in the next lesson we will I will give you a demo of 2-3 questions that we have discussed, you have studied in class 11th without function. Now we will do it with function. And in the second part, I will be providing you with the questions that can be asked from this unit. Okay, till then you just stay healthy, stay safe, and just go through all these contents. I will see you in the practical session. Be prepared. Thank you.